Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today is Wednesday, the 17th. I wanted to send an update for the week and talk about some things for next week. I've got just one or two proposals left to return to a couple of you, and I'll do that today. One common theme that running through many of them to be cautious of for your future drafts. Be sure to look at the link, the learning module on writing a qualitative proposal. Some of you are having difficulty with writing a qualitative research question. For example, in qualitative research questions, we typically do not try and imply causality because that's very difficult to do in social science settings, especially in fieldwork. We also don't measure things, compare one thing to another generally. So keep that in mind. And also keep in mind a research question is exactly that. It is answered in the form of is written in the form of a question mark at the end. Another thing I wanted to mention, I know many of you live in the Houston area. Many of you have been impacted by the storm. Some of you are not directly in the path of it, but still impacted by it. If you are, please reach out to me and let me know as soon as possible so we can do whatever we can regarding dates and deadlines. There's no penalty for things that we cannot control. A couple of you have already done so, and I thank you for doing so. I appreciate that. Makes it much easier when one is proactive. You can probably tell from the background here, I'm in a hotel. I'm traveling this week. A week before last, I was in Wisconsin visiting my family. This week, I'm in Dallas for a conference. But for next week, on the discussion board, we're going to do something a little different. Typically, I don't write prompts or questions. I try not to do that, and there's a reason for that. I've been exposed to this material for over 30 years. So it's lost its newness, its freshness to me, unlike for many of you, where it is new. And sometimes it can be very challenging. I've lost that sense of newness over the years, that approach. So it helps when you write things that come up to you that are important because that reflects your perspective as a student. And I think that's very important. But for next week, we are going to have a topic. We're going to talk about the discussion board, The Bridge of San Luis Rey. Some of you probably wondered, what is that book doing in our reading list? It's a novel. It's a work of fiction, mostly. It's based on some truth. Written by Thornton Wilder, one of America's great writers, and is considered a classic in literature, American literature in particular. But I came across the movie, actually before the book. My taste in movies, you're going to be appalled, runs along things like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Blood Slaves of the Vampire Queen. I think you get the impression. My taste is not exactly sophisticated when it comes to entertainment. But I was at a video store looking through the section, and I saw this DVD, The Bridge of San Luis Rey. And it was very interesting, the timing of it, because it was about maybe 3-4 weeks after my son died in August 2005. And normally I would never pick up something like that. I'm purely an escapist. But I bought it anyway. It seemed interesting. It had quite an interesting cast. I found it really very poignant, but also very intelligent, very intellectual in the sense that it had a lot of intersections with qualitative research. So I bought the book and really found it fascinating to read. One of the things you notice when you read this book, The Bridge of San Luis Rey, is not very long. In fact, Thornton Wilder's publisher was rather disappointed when he got the draft of it. He thought it was too short to be a viable novel. But it has a lot of intersections with qualitative research. Brother Juniper, the main character, essentially tries to unravel the lives of several people who share a common fate. And what he does essentially is a case study using multiple methods. So there are a lot of intersections with qualitative research in that novel. If you get a chance to watch the movie, I really encourage it. I'm not sure what platforms it's available on. I think the movie came out in 2003 or 2004, so it's been a while. Harvey Keitel, Al Pacino, Kathy Bates, some really big names were in it. It was not a commercial success, but I think it was a very beautiful, elegant movie to watch. At any rate, so next week for the discussion, focus on the things you find in the Bridge of San Luis Rey that intersect with qualitative research. There's another reason I do this. We can talk about these concepts in the classroom and read them in journal articles and textbooks, etc. But I want us to get our minds accustomed to understanding these phenomena outside of our lives, across our lives, that they exist in everyday life, in almost every social setting. And these are not just ideas that exist in a textbook. They're not there just for us to discuss and talk about. They really are part of our lives. And if you can become accustomed to looking for these things and seeing them in your everyday life, it'll be much easier for you to make the shift to become a scholar and understand these phenomena in your everyday life and in the research setting as well. So these popular culture examples can be terrific learning opportunities for us. I used to use a lot more things like this, unfortunately, since going from Classroom to Blackboard. There are all kinds of copyright issues in terms of making movies or episodes of series available for you. And I can't put those out there without getting into some trouble. So, but this is an excellent example. And it's also a classic in American literature. So as usual, although I'm on the road, I'll be in touch. And I've got a little more homework for me today. But if you have any questions about anything, you know where to reach me. And I always look forward to talking with you. Have a good week, everyone, and I'll be in touch. Especially looking forward to next week's discussion. Bye.